What? What is this? Extroversion.
One of Freud's major points is the concept of unconsciousness, which is a reservoir of most unacceptable thoughts, wishes, will feelings, and memories, and it plays a huge impact. A free association is the method Freud used to explore the unconsciousness of people, in which the people relax and says whatever comes to mind. And he called his theories and associated treatment techniques psychoanalysis, which attributes thoughts and actions to unconscious motives and conflicts. According to Freud, the human personality was structured into three separate parts: the ID, the ego, and superego part. The ID was the most primitive structure, functioned unconsciously, operated on the pleasure principle, which is this part. The ego was less primitive, functioned in partial unconsciousness, operated with reasons and reality principle, which is the tip of the iceberg. And the superego was the most modern structure, functioned consciously, operated on the moral principle, which is dependent on the morality. Freud believed that these three basic structures were in constant conflict, the result of those internal struggles throughout childhood with thoughts to influence the development of adult personality and behavior. Freud also proposed the psychosexual stages, which examines the sexual development of people, with each stage directly related to a different physical center of pleasure. During all those stages, identification occurs. Identification is the process by which children incorporate their parents' values into their developing superegos. Conflicts or struggles in those stages will lead to fixation. The first of the 5 stages is the oral stage, which is 0 to 18 months of age. The major pleasure center is the oral cavity, and it was basically just aiming to develop the proper amount of sucking, eating, biting, talking. And the fixation of oral stage is drinking, smoking, and nail biting or other mouth-based aggressive behaviors. And the second stage is the anal stage. The major pleasure center is the anal cavity, and the goal of it is to master the anal system, basically. The third stage is the phallic stage, which is 3 to 6 years old. It was the commencement of the major genital organ in either boys or girls. And at this time, boys developed the Oedipal complex as affection of their mothers and feelings of jealousy and hatred of their rival father, while girls develop the Electra complex with affection for their fathers. The fourth stage is the latency stage, which is from age 6 to puberty. Here, the children consolidate character habits developed in previous few stages. And the fifth stage, which is the last stage, is the genital stage, during which a person establishes a successful relationship with peers. During all those stages, as well as the rest of people's life, people encounter certain anxieties and stresses. Under stressful and anxious conditions, people develop defense mechanisms, which are tactics that reduce or redirect anxiety by distorting reality. There are 8 examples of them, including repression that blocks thoughts out from conscious awareness, regression that returns to an earlier comforting form of behavior, reaction formation that express the opposite of how one truly feels, and projection that believes that the feelings one has towards someone else are actually held by other people and directed at oneself. And there are also rationalization that comes up with the beneficial result of an undesirable occurrence. Displacement that redirect one's feelings towards another person or object. Sublimation that channels one's frustration towards a different goal, usually a nobler one. And denial, not accepting the ego-threatening truth.
The neo-Freudian psychodynamic theorists accepted some of Freud's basic ideas: personality and structures of ID, ego, and superego, importance of the unconscious, shaping of personality in childhood, dynamics of anxiety and defense mechanisms. That differed from Freud, placed more emphasis on the conscious mind, doubted that sex and aggression were all-consuming motivations, and emphasized loftier motives and social interactions. Theorist Alfred Adler came up with the inferiority complex, which is an unrealistic feeling of general inadequacy caused by actual or supposed inferiority in one sphere, sometimes marked by aggressive behavior and compensation. Karen Horney, childhood anxiety is caused by a dependent child's sense of helplessness, which in turn triggers a desires for love and security. Carl Jung, collective unconscious. Jung says that this explains why spiritual concerns are deeply rooted and why people from different cultures share certain myths and images. Contradictory evidence from modern research. The critics. Freud overestimated parental influence and underestimated child abuse and peer influence. He might have misjudged the significance of dreams and Freudian slips. Another fundamental misjudgment might have been Freud's emphasis on repression. Traumatic experiences are too bad to deal with, so we push them into our unconscious. Traumatic experiences are seared into our memories, never to be forgotten. Supporters claim Freud's idea of unconscious played a key role in personality. We work on autopilot a lot of the time. Researchers today identify a false consensus effect, which is the tendency to overestimate how much others share our beliefs. A person's terror management theory tries to deal with death. In it, a person offers up defenses when thinking of their own death.